Hi everyone. Wanted to welcome you to week 8 and just go over that very briefly. There's not a whole lot to look at this week, so let's just jump into the module together and look it over. Hope you're all doing well and have been able to get out and enjoy some of the fall weather. I know I'm in western Minnesota and our leaves are just starting to turn. We're having some yellow and orange leaves. Actually, some are falling already, but it's really pretty out right now, so I love this time of year. So week 8 is disorders of the cardiovascular system, and you can read through. There's of course the pre-quiz. I hope everybody's remembering to complete those on chapters 25, 26, and 27. There's some PowerPoints to go with each of those chapters. If you want to look at those as you go through the chapters, that might be helpful for you. I'd like you to watch all 5 segments in the Concepts in Action, and those can be found right here. There's a little 7-minute video about hydrostatic pressure and the cardiovascular system that's pretty helpful, so take the time to watch that. It's pretty short. There's a collaborative project of medical students and faculty that's interesting to read here, chapters 10 and 13. Information about cardiac disease and pregnancy, which will be helpful for you coming up. A couple other things. There's some optional videos here if you'd like to watch that. There's no module assignments, or form assignments or slide decks or anything to create this week, which is nice. There is the study guide and the alternative study guide or workbook pages to complete here on chapters 17, 18, 19, and 20. And I did have a question this week about the readings for this week are in chapters 25, 26, 27. I'm not sure why the company didn't make the workbook chapters the same as the textbook chapters, but they don't line up, so they are correct as they're written here. So complete those, and then the big assignment for this week is the beginning of your disease pathology paper. So if we click into that, this week you'll have due by Sunday just the first portion of that, and I just want you to be aware that the different parts add up to about 15% of your total grade, but altogether this disease pathology paper, these parts, the presentation at the end, account for almost 45% of your grade in this class. So this is a big portion, so I'd like you to really take your time on it and do your very best. Your final paper will be 8 to 10 pages long, so take that into account. You need to use 5 scholarly sources. It must be written in APA format and include headings. If you look in your syllabus, in the syllabus it tells you about preferably using each section that we do on different weeks as your heading. So this week we're going to do etiology and pathogenesis. And the other things coming down like prognosis, treatment, clinical manifestations, that kind of thing, should be their own heading. Look in your APA guide because there's very specific guidelines as to how your headings should be formatted, meaning depending on what level of heading they are determines where the heading should be in the paper, if it should be centered or if it should be left aligned, if it should be in italics, all those things. So there are very specific guidelines on headings, not just throw heading in there. So follow those APA guidelines. As you find sources, just when I'd write a paper, I would just have my reference sheet open at the bottom of my document, and as I add a new source, I just put it in there, and I put it right away in APA format so I know it's there, and I don't have to think, oh shoot, what did I use for that reference, and try and dig back and all that kind of thing. So try and do that. I would assume this is probably should be the biggest chunk of your paper, is the etiology and pathogenesis. So I would assume this section for you, I mean each disease is a little bit different, but I would assume this section should be like 3 pages probably. That's not a rule, you don't have to follow that, but looking forward at the different sections. And if you look at Module 14, there's more a description as to what your final paper will look like. So you can maybe go ahead and look at that module to get an idea of what the final project's going to look like. So as you do each section, it's done correctly, and then at the end you can just put them all together, and then that will save you a lot of time and energy, and it'll be formatted correctly and all that kind of thing. So this week you'll just do that one section of etiology and pathogenesis. Now this total page number count here does not include your title page, and it does not include your reference page. You do not need to do an abstract, so don't add that in there, please. And then you'll just turn that in again by Sunday the 10th at 11:55 p.m. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The best way is probably through the general discussion forum. I'm going to be gone most of this week, so I will be checking the general forum and email every day, but I'm going to France, so that's where I will be. But I'll be checking in if you have questions. Don't worry about that. I hope you have a fantastic week, and take some time for yourselves too. Enjoy.